The book is Swimming with the Blowfish, Hootie, Healing, and One Hell of a Ride. Jim Sonefeld, Hootie and the Blowfish, drummer, songwriter. The book comes out next month, and Sony joins us on the program. Why write a book?
I was feeling dangerous. I honestly, I think being an old guy, I wanted to see if there was something meaningful in my life, and I thought there was that I could share that might help some other people, maybe help them understand the trials and tribulations and glories and victories of being in a big rock band, but more so to tell about how I got to that place, how my bandmates to some degree got to that place, and then also sort of expose some of the downfalls that can happen in that life of entertainment, which I personally fell into in a deep way. But I got lucky too. The story, if you will, has a nice ending. It was wrapped up in a nice bow by the fact that we got to have a huge reunion tour in 2019 to affirm, that there were people out there that still had some love for Hootie.
When did you know you were in trouble?
I had a chance to accept what was troublesome in the early 2000s. I heard a few crew members, some guys which you know personally, they were behind a curtain. They didn't know I was on the other side of the curtain, and they were talking about someone that they were worried about. This guy's partying really hard. He's prone to some temperament. Has these violent outbursts where he's hanging out with weird people. And I literally thought, I need to find out who they're talking about because I'm one of the four bosses here. I employ all these people. And I got close to that curtain. And when they said, yeah, we just don't know who's going to be the one that's going to have to talk to Sony about his problem. And I was devastated. I literally could not believe they were talking about me. The worry, the anxiety was about me. They were worried. And so what did I do? I had all the information I needed to say, man, this is great. You guys are right. My life is careening out of control. But no, I'm a real addict. I need to hide it better. I need to figure a way out that they're not going to be worried, and but still do my drinking, still do my drugs, still hang out with whoever I wanted to. So that was my chance. I suffered for about 4 more years after that before I came to reality.
But you don't know what you're looking for. You know, those on the outside, I didn't know. Like, you hit it pretty well, and I was around the band for a long time, a lot of those tour stops. And I remember one time in Boston, and I said to Mark, the lead guitar player, and then Darius, the lead singer, I said, where's Sony? And they go, back in his room. And I didn't know what that meant. I thought, oh, well, good for him. Like, he's not at the bar. I thought maybe you're just boring. And then I remember pressing those guys a little bit, and they say, no, he goes back there and he drinks out of the minibar. Was that accurate?
Absolutely. When someone who's sick in the thinking I was and the actions I was, if there wasn't people to participate with me, if I couldn't get the circus revved up around me, or I didn't like what it looked like because I was doing things that I wasn't supposed to be doing, there's always a hotel room. There's always isolation. And, I had the either benefit or curse. I don't know how you look at it, but I could be the crazy guy in Boston or the isolated guy. Because the fact is, in 24 hours, I was going to be in a different town, USA, and then another town, and then another town. So my worries or my path of carnage, I was able to leave it behind night after night after night, thinking I'd escaped any consequences until they all caught up with me.
But also, at some point, do you embrace the lifestyle, or does the lifestyle embrace you? Or maybe it starts out that you embrace it, and then you realize that it's got the hold on you, not the other way around.
I was very flexible, Dan. I was willing to wear different masks. I was willing to do anything to, fall into the lifestyle or fall away from it if I could successfully do what I wanted to do, which was mainly get a drink up to my mouth or find something to help me stay awake to get to drink longer. And so, yeah, I mean, camouflage is an alcoholic's sort of trick. And so if I could camouflage, become slightly different for different people, I would do that. Very unhealthy though in the end.
Did you drink? Were you drunk on stage?
I never entered drunk. And I, again, an addict or someone that suffers in the way I do, we're not necessarily stupid or even misled, or we don't, it's not like we lack self-will. I'll do whatever I can to succeed in not getting caught, but getting what I need. So no, enter the stage like you've done with us before. Shot of Jaeger, shot of Beam. You get on there clean. It's a lot of focus. It's a lot of, you want to be clean. And that just began, that was like my ramp into oblivion. So by the end of the show, I'd have a good buzz going, but what looks better from the audience than a bunch of guys that are out there really letting it go, sweating, having fun, doesn't look scripted. And ours was never scripted. That's a good way to do 2 hours.
And as the son of an alcoholic, I know that you guys are very good at hiding things, or at least you think you are, until you're not. And then everybody notices what you think they're not noticing. I just wonder, like the interventions, how many times did people try to kind of grab you and say, dude, you're giving it all away?
Oh, goodness. There's nothing worse than having an intervention, even by people that love you. There's when you feel the walls closing in and the talk is coming, you squirm, and for the last few years, I knew as my consequences became a little more public, at least in our group, I knew they were coming. And most of them, I think, done with love. But deny is sort of the game. I'm okay, or I'm working on that. And the book tells as much how different band members in their love and worry spoke to me. And it wasn't until my last intervention that came from a little bit of a place I wasn't expecting that actually made me think a little deeply. And I was sober a month later.
Wildest bands you toured with?
Not that I even saw them in action, but I saw the results of their actions, and it was Van Halen, because we got on this crazy tour that a couple of festivals in Germany. We were the only not hard rock band, and we were, of course, it was a big 10-hour festival. We were probably the second band playing to a few people in Munich Stadium. Hey, it's like 90% empty. It's glory.
Hold my hand.
So we share a big backstage with all these other hard rock bands, including Van Halen. And I'm thrilled. This is my entrance into hard rock, was Van Halen in high school. So I see them in their trailer, and here's Eddie walking out from his trailer, and he's a little gimpy and he's a little slow. I'm like, what's up with him? And he gets to the bottom and out comes a cane. I'm like, whoa, that's not good. He's got a cane. Right behind him is Alex, his brother, the drummer, a hero of mine. And he's looking this way when he gets out, and then he looks this way. I'm like, why is he physically looking so weird? He gets closer, he's got a huge neck brace. So here's like two guys looking like they just walked out of a war zone, and they're supposed to be my heavy metal heroes. I'm like, is that what I'm in for? Is that where I'm going? Because this was only the mid to late 90s. I was still partying without as many consequences. But I thought, if that's the end game here, I got to get some new health insurance.
Also, when they think of Hootie and the Blowfish, they always think, well, you guys are just nice guys and never part. When I would tell people, I said, those guys can get after it. They're like, no, they can't. Like, what do you guys have, like light beer or something? I go, no, I don't think so. I think there's some other things going on here. I mean, you're not Motley Crue, but, felt like you guys got after it, maybe more than, America thought.
Nice guys can get out of control too, and nice guys can live out on the edge and even have some consequences. I don't know, honestly, how we escaped the headlines. We're probably a little lucky, if anything, that way, where some of our actions didn't end up on the front page, or there wasn't a bust up or anything happening. It's a little lucky, honestly. We predated cell phones, so there wasn't a bunch of people when we were at the height taking pictures backstage. That would have been a whole different story. So we're a little lucky, if anything.
He's Jim Sonefeld, the drummer for Hootie and the Blowfish. The book comes out next month. Swimming with the Blowfish, Hootie Healing and One Hell of a Ride. Do you remember the day you became famous? The band?
In my mind? Oh, the day I had an inkling that things were happening was probably sitting on the stage late night with David Letterman. It was a place where I said, oh, wait, we're being beamed into the living rooms of millions of people with our little song, Hold My Hand. And I was nervy. I saw the red lights saying record coming on. And I talk about this in the book, to be sitting on that stage where the Beatles sat in the year of my birth, 1964, was like stupendous. And I sensed like, this could take us to a place we've never, ever gone. And it did. That was the turn where you go from playing clubs and theaters to millions of homes. You can't deny, as you like to say, you can't deny us. And it worked. They liked the song. Radio stations played it. People supported us. We did great videos. Thank you, Dan. And
yeah, and Sony wrote "Hold My Hand" just to let everybody know. I mean, you did change the lives of those guys. Without that song, there might be Hootie and the Blowfish, but there wouldn't be Hootie and the Blowfish worldwide.
It's always good to come into a audition for a band with something in your back pocket. I'm not going to arrive empty-handed. So I had been writing songs for a few years, none of it worth anything. I was the king of writing songs that weren't great, that weren't working, that weren't catchy, until one day it was, with 3 chords. And yeah, I arrived to my audition with the band sort of, here's this tune. What do you guys think? Meekly. I wasn't trying to play them, but I honestly hadn't played it for anybody else. So I didn't know if it was going to be a great song. And they looked at each other like, okay, you can stay.
And you found somebody who helped you here. So the former wife of lead guitar player Mark is your wife, and I was never bored when I was around you guys. They'd go, "Oh, you know what's happening now?" And I go, "What?" And then it'd be, this over here, this over here, this over. I go, wait. Sony is dating Mark's ex-wife. Yeah. And I remember talking to you about it. Go, yeah, it's cool. But she helped save you, and maybe vice versa through all of this.
Well, certainly. I mean, we may look normal on the outside, but if you ever look behind the curtain, Dan, you stood at my first wedding, and the twists that come are not always in the headlines, but there's nothing weirder than what we've managed to do with my and Laura's marriage, 14 years now, to be successful as parents, all of us, exes and Laura and I, with 5 kids. It's been a victory, but one nobody saw coming. Yeah, certainly it's a great twist for the book to see an ending that is you never see coming. Laura, in fact, was the one I talk about, my last intervention being the one that was the only one that made me think. And it was Laura, then Laura Bryan, that gave me that intervention. And it's because she came to it from a way that she wasn't demanding answers. She wasn't doing what a lot of interventions end up doing, which is telling me how bad my actions are, how I got to get my junk together, how I am disappointing so many people. I knew that, but she asked it in a different way, saying, do you value yourself? Do you want something better for you in your life and your family? And she, after that intervention, I walked away thinking, and it took me about 30 or 40 more drunks to go, I do value my life. In fact, if I don't start valuing it with an action, I'm going to be dead in a few weeks, because my alcohol and drug intake was very high. I just happened to be playing it off better than the average alcoholic.
It's pretty amazing. I mentioned this earlier in the show that I've known you so long, but I didn't really know you until probably the last 2 years. I feel like I know you now, whereas before you were just the drummer in the band, And I just always had a good time every time I saw you. But I don't know if I ever invested in you because I don't know if you allowed people to invest in you because you kind of had that mask on.
When it gets dark, and my life was getting dark due to my substance abuse, you're in the dark. I'm not wanting to shine for other people. I want to be isolated, and I became isolated. And yeah, it was a different thing from when we were first hanging out, playing basketball backstage as young men, probably in our 30s, shirts off, and there wasn't a worry in the world. It's, if you fast forward, let's see, whatever that was, 95 to 2005, there's what 10 years can do to change your life. And I look back with fondness on the whole trip. Honestly, the book talks about the darkness, but I also wanted to celebrate the joy, the fact that though we worked hard, we never could have seen what was coming ahead of time. And our lives changed, and our children's lives changed as well, forever. So I wanted
and
to
I remember when we were in Glasgow, because I went to London, Scotland, Ireland, and it was underground. I don't know how many people there, a couple of thousand.
Yeah.
But Sony would always take his shirt off when he was drumming. And then I made sure I caught his attention on the side of the stage, and I had my shirt off with my white khakis, and had some good times. Some good times.
Where were the video cameras?
That was my 40th birthday, and my wife said, yes, go on tour with Hootie and the Blowfish.
Well, then you're a lot older than I thought, Dan.
Yes, I am. Yeah. No, you look a lot older than I do, but you've done more damage to your body, Sony.
You ought to see the inside, dude.
No, that's not pretty. Good luck with the book, and hopefully we'll see you guys back on the road one of these days. Sony has a latest single called It's Good to Get Back. Where's that available?
Spotify or any of your streaming channels. Check it out. It's good old rock and roll.
Thank you, buddy.
God bless you.
That's Sony, Jim Sonefeld, Hootie and the Blowfish. Swimming with the Blowfish, Hootie Healing, and One Hell of a Ride comes out next month.